Hello, everybody out there in YouTube. We are the middle-aged guys, and we're going to be quote-unquote bullshitting about the Super Nintendo Entertainment System Classic Mini that was just recently announced, the SNES Mini. Okay, now before we get into everything that, as far as our opinions and stuff like that, let's get the introductions out of the way. The theme here.
Gray Mouse 1.
And the Reverend.
Okay, on June 26, 2017, it was an announcement that basically everybody and their mom probably just either prayed about or they actually knew that this was going to happen since the success of the NES Classic Mini. We're getting a Super Nintendo, an SNES Classic Mini. It's going to be $79.99, basically 80 bucks, 80 US dollars. And it's also going to be a Super Famicom Mini, and there's also going to be a unit sold in Europe as well. It's going to have a list of 21 games. 21 games. Compared to the $30 on the NES Mini, this one's getting 21. Now, there are going to be some give and take as far as the game list. But without further ado, I'm going to open the floor about this. Guys, what do you guys think about the gaming list, the cost, and the fact that they're just going to include 2 controllers this time instead of 1?
Where is the surprise in all of this? I think everybody knew that this was going to fucking happen. Even the people who aren't hardcore gamers or folks who keep their ear to the floor. All right, after they saw what happened with the NES, or even if they caught wind of the NES like a fart in the fucking wind. All right, they're like, oh yeah, it makes sense that Nintendo would do a Super Nintendo next, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I think that's my first initial thought about it. What about you, Gray Mouse?
I'm kind of in the same book. I mean, who didn't know? I mean, you got Forbes magazine of all things, and ran a story about this. So that's got to tell you, everybody knew that this was coming. And I think on this channel, we even mentioned that, oh yeah, they're going to make an SNES. The only thing that we did have a debate on is the games. What games are they going to put on this thing? Because the Super Nintendo library, and there's many people that probably believe this, that's watching this, and in this very room, is that Super Nintendo had a fucking great library of games. Hands down. I mean,
yeah. And that's a segue into the basic conversation that everyone has had debates over, or just actually conversations over. Because, okay, the middle-aged guys, off camera, we've often discussed the Super Nintendo Entertainment System as far as it being one of the greatest systems of all time and the great list of games that basically helped the video game industry be the way it is today.
Yeah.
Let's think about it. There are a lot of titles. Okay, some titles originated on an NES, but the Super Nintendo basically just blew open the world of RPGs, blew open the world of beat-em-ups, blew open the world of bringing fighting games to home console, blew open certain racing games, and so on and so forth, particularly the RPGs and adventures. So, the 21 games that are going to be on this SNES Mini. All right, the floor is open, guys. What do you think about the games on this list?
Gray Mouse, I'm going to let you go first. What do you think about it, sir?
Oh, you're so kind. The list, where's fucking Chrono Trigger?
Uh-oh. Now you have opened up the can.
I'm going to put the gloves on and just go ahead right now.
Uh-oh.
Chrono Trigger. That's the only complaint that I have. You telling me, Actraiser? Anyway, oh God. Look, this is going to be a fucking drug out freaking video. The games that are on that list deserve to be on the list for the particular reason, and it does represent a large part of the game library that was on the Super Nintendo, with the exception of shoot 'em ups. I think those were left completely out. I don't know why. But everything else I feel that's representative. As I may be missing But what do you think, Reverend?
Well, I'm going to say this right now. With the games that are there for $80, it's a fucking steal. It is a fucking steal. It is a deal and a half, especially if you're trying to go ahead and actually play these games. Or, excuse me, you're actually trying to acquire these games in a physical format. Good luck finding a copy of Super Mario RPG in good condition and not paying $80 for it. Okay, that
costs more than the NES Mini itself.
Exactly. You know, so when it comes to the price of the games and everything that are on there,
wait a minute. Let's stop right there for a second. Final Fantasy 3 will most likely be in the same boat.
Yep.
Super Metroid will probably be in the same boat.
Same with Secret of Mana. Same with Mega Man X.
Mega Man X,
definitely. Earthbound is just astronomically fucking expensive.
Let's talk about Arthur.
Yeah, you know, Ghouls and Ghosts.
And let's not forget that this has Star Fox 2 on it.
Yeah.
A previously unreleased game. This actually has Star Fox 2. I hope it's better than Star Fox 0.
Well, the beauty thing about this, the Star Fox 2, is that it's an official, complete, 100% official release. From what I understand, you know, doing a little bit of research on Star Fox 2, is that the one that everybody got, that ROM, it wasn't even complete. It was like they just pulled that ROM. It wasn't a finished game. Now they have an opportunity to release a official release of Star Fox 2, and what else can you say? I mean, that alone, I think, is worth the $80.
The
$80 and the extra controller thrown in there, you know.
Yeah, and oh wow, look, some of these games are 2 players. So to throw an extra controller in there, whoop-de-doo.
This made sense.
Yeah, it made sense. Super Mario Kart.
Yep.
I mean, come on. All right. Look at the list of games and look at the freaking developers that are there. You or the publishers, I should say. You have Nintendo, Konami, Capcom, and Square primarily for all these games.
Yeah. Yep.
That basically guided the Super Nintendo
during that era. The thing is, though, one game that is noticeably missing, other than Chrono Trigger, is Turtles in Time.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that is like that's. Look, I would take out Kirby. No, I would take out one of those Kirbys. I don't know which one. I'd take out one of those Kirbys and put put that TMNT in there.
Well, I would have this at least 30 games, but that's me. But
yeah, but if you were given that
that would have pushed it. That will most likely would have pushed this thing to $100 easily. But people still would have paid.
The thing is, though, if you're looking at the value, Secret of Mana, you're not going to find under $100.
Yeah,
Chrono Trigger, not
Chrono Trigger. You're lucky to find that a Super Nintendo cartridge.
Zelda, you're not going to find under 60. You know, you got these games.
In Star Fox 2, you're not even going to find it at all.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I got to sit there and point out is that in comparison to the NES Classic, okay, where the NES Classic, where it was like around 50-50, like half of the games were Nintendo first-party games, and then the other half were spread out between Tecmo, Konami, and Capcom, and also Technos Japan. Mm-hmm. You know, the thing is that this particular setup that we have here, it's very first-party heavy as far as Super Nintendo games go. Mm-hmm. Majority of them are first-party games, except for Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Castlevania 4, Mega Man X.
Yeah. Super Turbo is arguably one of the best fighting games in that era.
And Contra 3, the Alien Wars, and Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Yeah, so out of the 21 games,
also a Capcom title.
Yeah, so out of the 21 games, you have only 5 titles that are not Nintendo first-party titles. I think what happened with this particular one here was that there was probably licensing issues as far as a lot of these games. The thing about Chrono Trigger is that I don't know if the the thing with Chrono Trigger, as far as it goes, is that I know it saw re-release on the DS. I can't remember whether or not it saw re-release on the Virtual Console.
No, wait a minute. Wasn't that even re-released on the PlayStation at one point?
Yeah, it was released on the original PlayStation, but I can't remember if it's been re-released on Virtual Console. I think one of the things that prevented them from including more games from third-party publishers is that there's, let's just be honest, a lot of these classic games are showing up in those other individual publishers, their own compilations that they're republishing out on major consoles today. So there's probably some sort of licensing conflict that's happening.
Which sucks.
Which is weird because, I mean, you see Final Fantasy 3 in there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but the thing is...
But look at what else Square... I mean, Mario RPG is there, and that's Nintendo and Square combined.
Well, yeah. No. I'm not taking anything away from that, but what I'm saying is that maybe it was the music in Chrono Trigger that actually... Because, I mean, you got the...
Or something.
Or something in there.
Or something, yeah. I mean, there could be anything in there that's causing that. Not to say that, I mean, even before we started this particular video, I've said multiple times in other videos that we've done before that you could put 100 games on this fucking system and somebody out there will feel like it's missing something. All right. Now, the one thing that kind of bugs me about a lot of outside, reception in comparison to the NES Classic, we haven't even talked about like the whole angst about getting a hold of one. I think we're definitely gonna touch that. All right, we're definitely gonna touch that.
Yeah.
The one thing that kills me, all right, and this is my own personal view, all right, is that a lot of people are like, oh, it's only 21 games, it's $80, it's not worth it. All right, I firmly believe that it can have the whole of the Super Nintendo library, all right? The two controllers come with a kilo of cocaine and a dozen hookers suck your dick, and people will still think that it's not worth the $79.
That's hilarious. Because, again... All right, let's talk about getting a hold of this thing. Now, okay, Nintendo has said that there's going to be a lot more of these than there was the NES Mini, but that's clearly not going to be enough. It's just not going to be always on the fucking market. Yeah. I mean, because...
They also said that they're not making any more after the end of the year.
Right, and this goes on sale in September. Now, in Europe, pre-orders are already done. They're sold out. Yeah. And here's another thing, too. As far as the Super Famicom Mini, certain games are alternated. Instead of Super Turbo, they're getting Super Street Fighter 2, for example. That's one example. Oh, God, what Gray Mouse alluded to earlier before we go about, oh, God, I want to tear my braids out when he said no fucking shoot 'em ups. I was really, oh, God, I'm disappointed about that. Damn, Konami and Capcom support this thing. So, no UN Squadron and Gradius 3. I was just like, damn it.
Well, what I find interesting too is the fact that they're already sold out in the UK is beyond comprehension for me. That's insane. And the fact that we keep saying this over and over again, in our videos, is that Nintendo only has one manufacturing plant. And it's not artificial, trying to raise the demand of these items. The items are already sold out already. So there is demand. They're not artificially creating demand. There's demand out there. It's just the fact that, that Nintendo is going to have to, between September and December, they're going to have to cut something out off of it. They got to take something off of their line to add this to their production line. And it's not going to be the Switch. Look, I mean, so maybe the 3DS. Maybe this is the curtain calls for the 3DS that everybody's talking about.
Wait, they're releasing a new Metroid on that. They better not.
Well, I'm talking about like production is what I'm saying.
Yeah, still they got the freaking the new 2DS coming out. The freaking the new 2DS XL coming out pretty soon. So
I mean, and let's talk about the elephant in the room here. Scalpers.
Oh, Lord. that shit again. Yeah, for those who are just gonna get them and then just probably put them online for like $300 to $500.
It pisses me off. Yeah, exactly. It pisses me off when I saw the NES Mini. You know, I was not fortunate enough to get one. Otherwise, I'd have it on my shelf behind me. I was unfortunately enough not to get one, so I will probably never have it. I'm not going to pay $300 for it. I'm sorry, it's just not. No, I'm not going to do it.
Okay, so wait, I will pay $300 something for an NES Mini and totally just ignore PS Pro or Xbox One X? No.
And what's really screwed up is that it really ticks me off when I see these eBay and Amazon, you know, auctions or whatever, and I see 30 boxes of these fucking things stacked up on a fucking kitchen table or on a person's couch, and you know this is a commodity. I mean, look, scalpers are the scumbags of the earth. I understand. No, I don't understand. I can't. No, it's bullshit. When you go into a Target, I mean, to a point, you got to. So, whose fault is it? Is it the store's fault for selling 30 items to one guy? As far as they're concerned, is we sold stock. We sold our whole stock. That they don't care. You know what I mean? Or you know, there were some scalpers that were actually going to different Target, like going into one Target on one street, sell them out, go to another Target down the street, sell those out, you know, go to multiple Targets. You know, I mean, there's got to be a point to where somebody can...
Plus, I mean, come on. It depends on where you are. You know, there are a lot of places out there that won't even get them in stock because of where they are, what city they are.
Well, mom and pop stores aren't getting them.
Oh, no, mom and pop stores are out.
You would barely find them in retail.
Even,
I would be surprised if I saw them at GameStop. For
example, the mom and pop stores didn't get the PS4 Gold Edition.
No,
the PS4 Slim Gold. They didn't. Mom and pop stores didn't get those in.
Mm-mm.
So it's like, and they didn't get the NES Mini. So yeah, they're out.
I mean, so do you blame Nintendo for this shit? I think you're aiming your anger at the wrong person. But again, Nintendo is a company that. Bottom line is what? Make money. They don't care how.
Well, if they want to make money, they would mass produce this thing.
On one hand, okay, if at the end of the year, the Reggie Fils-Aimé is in an interview with Kotaku or Polygon or somebody else, and he's sitting there saying, oh yeah, the amount of demand for the SNES Classic Mini completely took us by surprise. No, that's bullshit. Fuck that. Fuck that shit. You already saw what happened with the NES Classic, all right? You saw the backlash and you heard the angst, all right? Some of it deserved, some of it not deserved, okay? But if you're going to sit there and say, oh, this completely took us by surprise and we weren't prepared for the amount of demand, we didn't know, we had no way of knowing. Fuck you. Even as conservative as the Japanese corporate office may be, okay? Mm-hmm. They saw this here, okay? And there was a reason why at the end of the year, their stock dropped, okay? Because they had sold 2.3 million and people had realized, their stockholders realized that if they had enough stock, they could have easily sold 10 million, okay? Yeah.
Wait, do you think that if the NES Mini or Classic Edition was not successful, do you think we'll be up to this point to where there will be a Super Nintendo Mini?
Oh no, not at all. I mean that's the thing, they saw the success with that, all right. And the thing is that
up for debate. It's not like the Super Nintendo. I mean, it's not like the NES Mini came with Duck Hunt and a fucking gun with it.
Well,
or Mini Rob, they knew what they was out.
Yeah. Also, the thing is that we're talking about a unit that they're producing for retail. It only originally with the NES Classic Edition, it was only $60. With this one, it's $80. It's $20 more. All right. Mm-hmm. So obviously the demand is there. They know what to expect now. Are they going to put out that many? According to them, they're only going to run production until the end of the year. So. Mm-hmm. Obviously, for anybody watching this and hoping that there's going to be an excess supply, guess what? there's no surprise. There isn't going to be an excess supply. All right. So this is going to be something that's going to be in high demand over the fucking holidays.
Do you think that the reason why it's $80 is because they're trying to curve the make it more difficult for the scalpers to attain in mass quantities?
No, it's got a second controller.
Exactly.
That alone, right there.
Okay, no, I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I know.
You know, it's got a second controller, and also the Super Nintendo games that are available on Virtual Console. All right, which people have also had comments concerning. All right, those are all there for like $7 to $10 a piece. Yeah. So even if you're taking this $21, okay, and you're doing 21 games, and you're multiplying it by $7 or $8 a piece, you're still getting the console, everything with the extra controller at half the prices that you would pay for no physical fucking product at all. Okay. Right. So there's obviously a point here that it's like, you know, I can see where some of the angst comes from, but you know, let's just be frank here. If you don't pre-order this thing, all right, or if you're not willing to go out of your way and camp out, you're not going to get a hold of it.
No.
And you know what? As a middle-aged guy, I don't have time to. When I was younger, I had time to stand out of my local Best Buy or my local Target or my local Walmart. I had the time to do that. Now, as a middle-aged guy, work, home, family, real life shit. Life is much more important than getting a little box for $80. It's nice to have. It's a commodity. Yes, it's nice to have. Yes, is it bring back times from my childhood? Yes, but I'm not standing in a fucking line. So the only option I have is to pre-order, because there's no way I could walk into my local Walmart down here
and you'll see it,
and I'll see it on the shelf. If there's any indication of what happened to the NES Classic Edition, I mean, the sign will be there, and the price tag is going to be there, but the shelf's going to be empty.
Right. That's basically the point.
I mean, for Christ's sake, they can't even keep fucking switches on the shelves. I'm just saying that's almost freaking 10 times the amount of money. Whatever. I'm just saying.
As far as the game list, what do you? I mean, we're going full circle here, but what would you have liked to see on this list? Let's go over that. Not to say that this list is crap, because all of these games on this list, especially for their time, defined the 16/32-bit era at a certain point. Period. I've said it before and I've said it again. You owe your gaming life to Nintendo. It is just that simple. These games pioneered into the 32-bit PlayStation, Saturn era and beyond. They just fucking did, regardless of what anybody else says. When you look at the games on these lists,
I would have liked to see, like you mentioned in the beginning of the video, I would like to see an R-Type or a Gradius 3. I would have liked to see that.
You're killing me.
I would like to see an Actraiser. I mean, the music's fucking phenomenal. I mean, oh my god. I would even that. I would like to see not Sims. What was it? Yeah, Sims, wasn't it?
SimCity?
Yeah, SimCity. I like that game. That's what started it all. So I would like to see that. I'd like to definitely see Turtles in Time. But again, that list is very objective. You could swap out, put in your own, and like you said, you could put 1,000 or 2,000 games on that list, and there's still somebody say, "Oh, well, deserve." I know there wasn't that many in the library, but
but
I see your point. Yeah. Reverend, what about you?
I think the only one that I really would want to go ahead and switch out, and this is, purely based off of what I would like to get a hold of, is that I would probably go out of my way and maybe not have Kirby's Dream Course, instead actually have Kirby's Dream Land 3 in there. Okay.
Oh,
Kirby 3.
Yeah, Kirby's Dream Land 3. Now, the funny thing is, though, is that I kind of see why it's in there, because guess what? That's like the only close to puzzle game that's in there. All right. There isn't any other puzzle game. If maybe not Kirby 3, I don't know. Give me something like I don't know, Tetris Attack or Kirby's Avalanche. That would work also.
Kirby's Avalanche.
Yeah, maybe Kirby's Avalanche,
which is basically Puyo, but
yeah, pretty much. But with what they have here, it is a very, very solid lineup. You know, I marvel at the thought of modern players, of younger players, going out of their way and realizing that they have to go ahead and pass Super Ghosts and Goblins twice in order to actually see a fucking ending. All right, haha, that's all on you guys. But guess what? You have save states to actually carry you through that now. All right, we did that, you know, over 20 years ago without that shit. Okay, that's all I gotta say. But yeah, with the game list as it is now, it's definitely worth the cash. Like I said, there are going to be people out there who are saying, you know, for the price, it's only 21 games. You know, I spent $20 less and I got 30 games on the NES. Yeah, but you also didn't get an extra controller. All right, and also these games aren't, you know, the same games weren't the same price on Virtual Console. No, I know that's missing on the Switch and everything like that, but you know,
I mean, come on, look at the list of the games. You got Super Metroid on this list. You have Mario RPG on this list. You have Final Fantasy 3. Come on. Those three games alone, Secret of Mana, those games alone, Zelda. Most of these games are basically on the top 10s of many lists as far as this fucking console.
Yep. Not only that, but
with a couple of exceptions.
Yeah, like I said, if you're actually going out of your way and you're trying to get physical copies of these games, $70 isn't even it might plus cover like one of these fucking titles. Yeah, you know, you're not gonna have the console, you're not gonna have the extra controller. All right, and I see you out there. I know who you are, motherfucker. I see you. But emulation is free. I can play all these games on my PC. Fuck you. This is not about that. Okay, this is about the ability to go out of your way to get a hold of a nifty little device, play classic games on your modern TV without any fuss, function, or setup besides plugging in 1-2 fucking cables and running on your way.
Wait, certain games on this list weren't even emulated properly, like Star Fox, Donkey Kong Country, and Yoshi's Island.
Yep.
Yeah. So
it's hard to emulate because of the special chips that those games require.
Exactly.
But generally speaking, no, that's always going to come up. And look, and I'm not the guy who's going to sit there and say, "Oh, emulation doesn't have its place." I've been doing it since 1998. All right, you know, these guys, all the shit that they have, all the people in this video, all the stuff they have set up for emulators, they got for me. All right, so I'm the guy who sat there and set them all up. Okay, I know about it. Okay, but so the experience set that we're going for here with this particular product, all right, the experience that we're going for this particular product, it's not based off of that, okay? It's based off of being able to go ahead, like I said, having a nifty little device that reminds you of, yes, a lot of it is nostalgia, but even for the folks who like the gamers that are out now that weren't alive when this system was in its heyday and everything else, you know, they can go ahead and they can have a close to replicated experience to the original SNES console, and then they can go ahead and play some of the greatest fucking games for the console ever without having to deal with the Craigslist or eBay bullshit. Okay.
And, I just have to ask, please make the controller cords longer if you could.
What I was going to mention is that I would really like to get a hold of the UK or the
Super Famicom version.
Yeah, the Japanese version, because I like the design better. They had a much better design than we did.
Yep.
The purple and
this is up for debate.
Yeah, but that's up for debate.
Yeah, I mean, come on. We both have all three of us have Super Famicoms.
Yeah, I mean, I got mine off the store in retail though.
So did I. while we were in Japan, while we were
Yeah,
serving
when
in
I
the
was
Navy.
Japan. That's unique. But yeah, the cords are longer. That's what they're saying. So we don't need that extension like they sold us for in the NES Classic. That's a good thing. So we can sit another 2 feet away from our TV.
Another 2 feet. And that basically, all right, the Super Nintendo, these games, now these are only a handful of games, but again, these games were a basic segue to what we have, love, play, and cherish today. This is when it really, really jump-started. Yes, it started with the NES and maybe before it with certain games. But the Super Nintendo, you take a look at the games on this list, and you can look at the games that you play today, and it has elements from these games on the games that you play today.
Every game that's on that list was genre-defining.
And with that, and with that, we would like to know, what are your thoughts about the SNES Mini? Do you think that the price is right? Are you excited about it? Are you going through hell trying to pre-order it like everybody else is? What do you think about the list of games, and what games would you like to be on this list if you can either add more or switch and trade certain games? Just leave us a comment below, and if you like what we do here, mash on that like button, click subscribe. We're always here for gaming news and gaming conversations, and we don't stray away from conversations either. You got a comment? Please comment below. And that's going to bring this video for a close. Just remember, you owe your gaming life to Nintendo, as I said before. So, without further ado, the theme here.
Gray Mouse 1.
And I am the Reverend.
Once again, for the benefits of common sense, logic, and gaming. Credits.
Oh yeah, and yeah, you emulator boy. You emulator boy. All right. Fuck you. All right. That's all I gotta say. I love emulation too, but if you're gonna go out of your way and say, "Oh, you can get all these 100 games for free," why the fuck am I gonna stand in line? Why am I go ahead and spend $79? I understand. You're the motherfucker who's sitting there saying that even if it had 100 fucking games, it came with a kilo of cocaine and 12 hookers, and it only cost 99 cents. You'd still be that motherfucker saying that it costs too much. Yeah, no, I see you. I see you. Yes, you. Stop touching yourself. Fuck you, okay? All right.